Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This is season 6, episode 6. Ladies, are you ready for some cocktails and conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's get it crack-a-lackin'. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, the Blue Phoenix Heels, Louisa Harrell, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Woo! It's Wednesday, ladies. Working Woman Wednesday. How's your Wednesday going?
I forgot it was Wednesday.
Well, this is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G.
This is Dr. Lewis, aka the girlfriend therapist.
This is Diana Richardson Philippus, the networking extraordinaire.
And this is Louisa Harrell, the Blue Phoenix. Hi, ladies. Diana, I like the hair.
Where you going?
Ladies.
I'm glad to let my do out. You know, it's Black History Month and let power to the people. Let me get my life together with these natural locks, okay?
Girl, it's cute. Okay, but guess what we're drinking? Apparently, we need a little cocktail. So we have a cranberry cocktail. Just a little simple cranberry cocktail. We have cranberry juice, simple syrup, lime juice, fresh lime, and sparkling lime water as well as vodka. So you add the cranberry juice, the simple syrup, the vodka, lime juice, and to a glass, a tall glass, and then you fill it up with crushed ice. And then you pour over sparkling lime water and then garnish with a lime. And for the mocktail, you just take the vodka out.
Okay. That would be me. I am 39 days still dry.
All right.
39,
Hey.
39 days. I have not broken yet. And I think part of it is I've really not had a desire because, like I said, I have my little zero beers that don't have any alcohol in it. And it kind of just... Yeah, so I had.
Well,
I did buy a bottle of wine. I did buy a bottle of wine and then just to have, because I don't have any on my bar. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll have a glass of wine at some point, but nothing. I've literally had no desire at all to have a drink.
That's good.
Oh, I'm happy.
Yes. What about you ladies? What's going on in your worlds?
What's going on? Well, my dog, so my daughter was in a car accident on Saturday. By the time we came from the hospital and everything like that, we came home to let the dog out. He was just like not looking good. And I said, dang, he looked like he high, drunk or something. He just kept stumbling and like and you call his name and he'll look like this. And it was just crazy. I was like, is he okay? Is he dying or something? So Morgan already shook from the accident and paranoid, easily like sensitive and easily to cry. Like, you know what, let's take him to the pet ER, go figure out what's wrong with him. So on our way there, my mom said she found throw up in his bed. She said, and it smelled like straight reefer. And I said, oh, so he must be got something outside and ate it before they left, because they left that Morgan walked them. She said he was by a tree a long time just chewing on something. She made him spit it out. They got ready to go, and because she had her second part of her job interview, and she didn't get to make it because she was in an accident. So she put Bailey in a cage while they were gone. They got in an accident, so we were at the hospital like all day. It wasn't until we got home, so he must be threw up the weed. It was too much, and so we took him, and that's what it was. He was high. He just had to sleep it off a little bit, and it was the funniest thing ever. Once we realized he wasn't dying, it was so funny. I've never seen a dog high. It was really, really funny to me. to
Well,
see the
poor little Tink Tink was lifted. He got lifted, child.
Lifted all
He
the
had
way
the
up.
spins and everything. He didn't know what the hell was going on. He was like, "What feeling is this?"
when the doctor came in, so it was D on one couch because they put him in the quiet room. Normally, the room that's the darkest and the quietest because he need quiet and darkness. Where they euthanized the dog, but they just put us in there because they didn't want to put us in a regular room because it's so bright. So he was sitting between me and D, and he was like this. The doctor was talking, he lift his head up and nothing. And it's like he was nodding. And then he tried to get down. And it was like he was putting his paw out, like, okay, where I'm going. He tried to jump on the sofa. He kept hitting the edge of the sofa. He couldn't even jump. And he's a terrier, so he's a jumper. He couldn't even get on the sofa.
Listen to me. He done found some of that ooh wee. He done found some ooh wee.
So
okay.
He's been with us. He keep going back to that same tree. Trying to find. I said,
It's
he's addicted.
He was that's the shame. He
Only took one time.
it. Mm-mm.
oh my gosh, that's a hell of a time. But you know what? It's so funny that your dog is the second dog that I know of, because there was a dog that was on Instagram that was showing that got into some weed and was just like laid out. It needs to stop. Like, oh my gosh, people need to not drop stuff, around areas where there's pets. I mean, and also where there's pets, there's kids. So you
That
just have
part.
to be very, very cautious and careful, I guess, now outside. I mean, but then again, you can walk and get contact sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's one of the worst things. Yes. Oh, yeah. There are some people who are walking and smoking because it's legal in some places, depending on where you are at. It's legal to smoke. And so you have smoke shops and all of that, and people just come right out and they're smoking, or they just, it's so heavy in their clothing that you don't have contact high. I guess it depends on your level of sensitivity, but oh my gosh.
Because I ain't ran into that type of contact where I'm high off of just a little smell. Like, no, I'm gonna have to pull some, but that's another conversation. Let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Girl, live up in the city and walk past some of these people and just, and constantly be behind them and the wind blow. You're catching everything that's coming out of their clothing.
Ride behind them. You can get a house and ride behind a car.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell y'all something. When we were in New York in November, we walked, I don't know where we were at. It was a green truck, like a food truck. And I just remember walking past it I'm like, damn, it's so much. Who is smoking? But I don't see nobody. I turn around. The name of the truck is called Uncle Bud. He's selling weed, child, on the street, out the food truck. I was like, well, I'll be damned. I'll be Uncle Bud. And Sibo was like, I said, we need to move. We need to move.
No matter where you move now, I think it's some of everywhere that's legalizing marijuana. So everywhere you can find a smoke shop, you can almost guarantee and find something. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, Jay and I not long ago was at a hookah bar, and I guess it started getting late and they started lighting up. You see them rolling and everything. And I'm thinking, this is probably not the place for this, but management clearly is okay in this. So we just kind of got up and left. I got to the point where I literally couldn't even breathe in that place. I was like, know what? This is not my cup of tea. Let me just go ahead and go. Plus the energy shift in there. And we go there all the time, but the energy shift in there was like one of those things. You listen to your intuition. You got some young kids listening to all this music that talk about popping somebody and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, no, popping as in with the weapons and guns and stuff. So like, no, thank you. This is not my vibe. So I'm going to carry my old ass out of there, because that's literally how I felt. I was like, okay, age is really starting to show now. It's time to go. But speaking of all of these things, I want to get into the topic today because, I think Jay and I was having a conversation, and Diana and I was having this conversation earlier. And I'm sure, Cortina, you'll just love this depending on which way the lever swing on this conversation. So today's topic is, we want to know, is it possible to be 100% uninhibited in life?
And I think the term uninhibited can be seen so many ways. I feel like in some ways I'm uninhibited because I'm a nonconformist. I don't do things just for status quo or because other people do it. And I just don't give a damn about how people feel. However, as Diana pointed out earlier, I am very uninhibited. I am not uninhibited when it comes to sex. And Diana on the call said, she was like, I wish I was more. And I was like, I don't know. So when you all think of the word uninhibited and living life, what comes to mind when you just hear the word uninhibited?
Freedom.
You said breathing.
Freedom.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, can you expound upon that?
Like just free from judgment or free from whatever expectations, I'll say unfair expectations that you have on yourself, and just free from societal norms. Just not having to worry about what people say or how people say you're supposed to live, and you're at this age and you're supposed to be doing this by now, and just being free from everything thrown on you that you don't want.
Okay.
I like that. I like that.
I would say for me, I do think it's freedom. I think it's like being able to live without restraints. Like you're not being stopped by your own mental limitations. There are no fears that's preventing you, or fear of judgment of other people or self, or any preconceived notions that's kind of holding you back from engaging in whatever is in front of you or doing whatever it is that you want to do. So when I think about inhibitions, right, that's why initially, prior to me changing my business to the Noir Center, my company was Boundless Living. Boundless, meaning without restraints or without limits, uninhibited, because our inhibitions stop us from doing so many things. And so that was part of the premise of my original private practice, because our own limits is what stop us. And I don't know if it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know if it's possible for someone to have no inhibitions. Because when I think about that, right, all the way to the extreme, that would make me think that, and I'm not talking about fear-based, right? So I'm not talking about I have inhibitions because I'm afraid. But not everybody likes everything. So even if you are uninhibited about the things in your life that you do like, there may be certain things that you're not willing to do. Let's take an atheist, for example. I might be living my life the way that I want to, but if I get invited to church, I might not go because I don't believe that. So my disdain or my unconnection with this particular thing may inhibit me from going into this place. And so that's why I think, like, when I think about having inhibitions and things like that, I don't know if someone can live totally uninhibited.
You know what? I like what you're saying, because, and I'm going to take it a step further. And I'm just going to double back to what you were saying, Pam, when we were originally talking about sex, right? Oh. And how I would like to be a little bit more, uninhibited sexually. Well, there's certain things that sexually I like to do, but my husband don't. So now you run up, it's not that I can't live, but when you have a spouse who doesn't want to do the things that you want to do, like I can't. I mean, I know we're on, so I don't want to get all in, because he's probably going to open up this office door in 2 seconds. Like, what is you in here talking about with these people? But, like being like, because I like, having sex. Like, I do like doing it outside or in the car, things like that. He's not into stuff. He don't like that.
Well, I hope he does not go back and listen. But you know what? Speaking of, I'm going to tell you, this is a plug for you, Cortina. There were things sexually that I found out about Jay using the Sex Unveiled cards. Honestly. So it was just interesting that things that I never thought to mention that would totally take him out of being uninhibited in a way that I'd never thought about. But I learned that about him.
Mhm.
Some of them I was like, maybe. Others, absolutely not. But but I think this is my life partner. I think I'd rather know those things and those little intricate details in case one day I might be uninhibited enough to just try these things.
Right.
So I do love that that you said that he doesn't like to do things, and these are things that you know. But then are there things that he might like that you might not even know he likes? You know what I'm saying? And so those cards that Cortina had came up with, or Dr. Lewis, the Sex Unveiled cards, it opened up a doorway for us to have a different level of conversation when it comes to being uninhibited. And there was the cards took away, I feel like, for me, the embarrassment that any other time just to have those conversations, I would have never. But because it was throughout the game was a vehicle of us just randomly asking, like, hey, and then you show your cards and you can have these discussions. It gave me a more freeing level of comfort to at least be open to hear what he has to say.
And that's one of the things. So, like, going to what Diana said, right? You said, like, there are certain things that I probably would be willing to try. However, my partner is not. I think it also comes because, Pam, you just said something about embarrassment. If I can have a conversation about it, it doesn't mean I would do it. But I think even being able to talk about it without embarrassment is a level of not being inhibited, if that makes sense.
A level of freedom.
Correct, because it goes back to the freedom. So I don't have to be embarrassed about what somebody is saying. Maybe I'll engage in it. Maybe I might not, but I'm not afraid to have an open conversation. A lot of times people don't do things because prior to being able to do it, they can't even have a conversation about it. So if I can't even talk about it, right?
Then how can I do it?
It's not going to make it that much easier for me to actually engage in it. So I think one of the first steps to getting over the inhibitions that you may have is to be able to openly communicate about why I feel the way that I feel. Because maybe if I get some of those negative cognitions out of my way and really take time to think about why I feel the way that I feel about this and why this is embarrassing or why I feel like people might be judging me, it might not seem as big as the way I made it prior to me having the conversation. And now where I was inhibited before, I'm neutral or willing to give it a try. Oh, okay, I talked about it. Maybe that was a message I got from my mom or my dad or my family or what I saw, which made me believe morally wrong or incorrect or improper, or women and men and they and them should not do this. And so now that I'm actually having a conversation about it, I feel a little bit more empowered to be able to make a decision on whether I do or don't do something.
Noted. I like that. And can you girls text me that link so I can get these cards so we can have us a good time up in here? Because we need these cards.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, Cortina, so you can.
So one of the things that I always tell people when they're buying the cards too, you may think you're going to read something 2 times, but you have to be careful about how you read it, because one way is talking about, would you want to do this to your partner? And then the other way is, would you want your partner to do it to you? So where it says, so a lot of like, oh, I just read this one. No, you didn't. What you read was, would you want to do this to your partner? Because there are some things that people don't mind doing, but they don't
want receiving.
Right. And so it opens up the conversation. So I get that sometimes. There are duplicate cards in here. Reread the card. Take your time and read what it's actually asking. And so they go through like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's what it is.
Yeah, because there's some things that I know I don't do and won't do, but I don't mind.
But you also, and that'll be your vessel to also talk to him and dig a little bit and get to know things about why you might be read about this. What are your thoughts on it? You don't want me to,
like, I'm really open with him, like I get lots of like sex games. Like I'm into stuff like that. I hope I'm not putting myself too on Front Street, but I mean it's real. But I do like the tantric sex, and I get all these. But he be looking at me. I'd be like, "We're going to try something," and he'd be like,
I mean, what's the whole
"Okay."
point of tantric sex? I don't get. What's the whole point of tantric sex?
It's a deeper spiritual connection. So that's
Yes,
almost
it's
like
flow. It's intimacy. It's just, girl, you need to get the
not
book.
about penetration, right? And
Nope.
so one of the biggest things that I'm on right now is moving from penetration to pleasure, right? Or procreation to pleasure, because I see different people that have all these religious constructs and they think, oh, okay, well, it's a chore. We're only supposed to be having sex. It's only for my husband or what have you. And I'm like, okay, we got to get away from it from like it's a chore. But when it comes
Right.
to tantric sex, have you ever done soul gazing? Right. So soul gazing is you can do it with your clothes on first, because some people they look giddy, and you just sit there and you pierce into the deepest parts of your partner's soul and you try to get this connected energy. So in the beginning it might not be sexual, but at some point there's a twist and a turn that comes, and it's like, okay, now maybe where there was no desire, there's yearning, there's desire, there's rekindling. And so it's more so about the connective part. And some people really need that, especially where there's been a void in emotional connection that serves as a barrier to them being able to enjoy and have pleasurable sex. So we go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is something that might be beneficial, especially if there is a lot of mental blocks and you feel like your partner only wants penetration. So we try to take it a different route. So that's the whole tantric.
That was me. And it's a component to it of penetration that I really enjoyed. And the whole part or the whole point is for the man not to, because, men, they get a hard on, they want to, but it's soft penetration. So the whole point is to get that connection, and you try to keep them from getting like aroused. Like it worked a little bit. We've done it quite a couple times. I liked it, and he didn't understand it at first, but he did by the time we were done, because it like brings you closer, and like you're talking and you're asking questions, and the woman has some responsibility in that too, to keep her. Never mind, it's too much for this program. It's too much. It's too much.
The
author of the book, her name is Diana Richardson. That just solidified that I needed to buy it. I was like, it's me. Now she's a Caucasian woman, but I was like, I need this book.
So
this is a good one too.
Urban Tantra.
Oh, not Urban Tantra. Come on, somebody. Who is the author?
So this
I can't see that good.
Barbara Carolyn.
Okay.
Try that.
So I don't know. I feel like tantric is just like, I don't know, the way that my mind is just set up. It's just too much for me. It's too much thinking. I don't want to have to think that much. I don't have to think that much.
No, you don't.
Maybe
you're not supposed to.
Everything Diana just explained, that looked like it seemed like it just required too much. Too much effort.
No.
It's about grounding yourself and allowing yourself to fully be immersed in the experience of what the presence and the energies that both of you are creating.
You should try it.
Because this is the thing, right? A lot of people get caught up on, theatrics.
Having an orgasm and
some people feel like if I didn't have an orgasm, the sex was trash. No, if you're so worried about having an orgasm, you're not going to be able to enjoy the pleasure. There are a lot of people that orgasm and the sex was not necessarily the best. Why? Because they probably rubbed the right spot, the clitoris, and it's like, oh, okay, that felt good in that moment. But the whole entire sexual experience was not what they thought it would be. Even some rape victims have experience and they feel guilty because they feel like, okay, well, it was pleasurable and I did have an orgasm, but it was totally disaligned with the panic and the fear and the trauma that I was in. And so a lot of rape survivors feel guilty because they're like, but my body did one thing, but my mind did not feel safe and everything. So they get really confused. So I like to really disconnect orgasms and ejaculation with anything as it relates to pleasure. Pleasure is an entity in and of itself.
Oh, I agree.
Pleasure without penetration.
So
Yep.
let me just say this. Let me say uninhibited, since we're having this conversation, I absolutely do not like 69. I feel like who the hell gets to enjoy that? I feel like it's too much competition. It's too much competition. It's like, I want to be able to just enjoy it. I don't want to have to be trying to give and receive. Where's that fair? It's like, no, I want to enjoy just like they want to enjoy. Ain't no one and up and one and up and one and up. No, I just want to lay back. I want to enjoy the experience. So I don't do it. I won't ever do it.
What competition though?
Excuse me?
No, I just had a question. The one up, like, okay, I did it better. Now I'm in like.
No, it's not even the one up. It's like when it feels too good, it's like it makes you want to go even more to connect. I don't want that. No, if you're receiving from me and it's feeling good, I don't want you to then emotionally feel like you're feeling good enough that you want to give me more or give back or what. No, just lay your ass there. Let me do me. I will lay. So it's not I don't know. It's so mentally, it's just not there. I don't want to have to give. I don't want to have to give and receive at the same time.
Which is okay, because everybody's requirements are very different, right?
Exactly.
And so it's okay to say, you know what? Some people
but it's a pleasure thing. But like you said, it's a pleasure thing. To me, I want to be able to enjoy the experience of that. I don't want to have to be interrupted in my experience because I keep on stopping because I'm trying to give and I can't give if it feels good. I'm like, no. So it's, it's like,
see what you're saying.
It's like walking and chewing bubble gum. I don't want to have to do both.
Right. You don't want to accidentally chew when you're trying to.
People, they can also get very distracted, and it takes them away from being able to be in the moment. Because it's like if you have ADD, like it's like, okay, I'm trying to be in the moment, I'm trying to focus on the pleasure, and I'm trying to perform to make sure I'm paying attention to the cues and everything like that. So for some individuals, they don't find it pleasurable because it's like, okay, it's too many moving parts. So let me just do. Okay, this way, this is good. I might not want it. You would be surprised at how many people are not even interested in oral sex. They like to give it.
It's more people than we think.
They're okay with not receiving it.
I like to have it done, but I'm not really big on giving it myself. I'm not uninterested.
Really big on having it done. I don't really care.
See, me either. I'm comfortable with it.
It's
not.
Cool. I ain't gonna say no, but it ain't like, oh my God.
Right. It's not like on the highest list of prior. I mean, I don't know, but ask my husband, he'd be looking at me like, so, I mean, it's been like years.
Not years.
Diana.
And some people, they feel like if you don't eat it, I can't, or if you don't do it often, then no, we will have a horrible sexual experience. And then for that, I say, that's cool if it's for you, but I would say expand your sexual horizons and other interactions and connections that you can connect in the same sexual way that will give you the same amount of pleasure.
Like cuddling. I like to cuddle.
I do too. I like to know that I can invade space. I am a space invader.
Oh yeah.
I just like, I like to just, he can be on the couch and the whole couch can be right there and I'm gonna come find a crack. I'm gonna find me a crack that I can put myself in. That is me. Speaking of uninhibited life, and I know one of the biggest things is body image.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like, and I'm just stating, because even though I'm like very small, there are things that I feel uncomfortable about with my own body. I think especially women, and dare I say, probably even some men, because the vanity of men these days with the weaves and the all of that, it's getting out of control. But I digress. Just being able to have the freedom to love your body as it is, and then you can have social media or television or magazines and whatnot that is, I guess, what do you call it? Altering. the way that women look on pictures. So you're getting this false image regardless. And then you're being told, like, I can't think of the lady's name. And I feel like it's Lisa Nicole or something like that. The Grammys. I don't know if you all saw it online where she was being dragged because she had on this really beautiful low cut dress and her body was very beautiful. She was a very
yes, the small black girl, and
yeah,
the breast lift and all of that. She's a comedian, yeah.
And they was just literally dragging her, saying she needs to get a breast lift and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, I think this is the problem: is that have we become so desensitized to what the natural body of a woman looks like that a woman that is confident in walking across, a red carpet or whatever and feeling comfortable and happy in her own body. And I consider that uninhibited because she didn't care. And then she got internet trolls who's probably got raggedy ass bodies that are, telling her all these different things that she need to do to her body. And I just felt like, wow, what is this?
But I think it shows like she's a mother. And she breastfed, right? So that's the natural progression of a body. I do think people are disillusioned with what it is to have a body, because whether you have a messed up BBL, people are going to say, oh, you need one. Like when Carrie Hilson posted her picture, people was like, oh, she need a BBL. Why? Like, why? How have we lost the sight of the beautiful body in its natural state? Like, I don't even think anybody who was born after what date would that be? Like the 2008 knows what a natural body looks like. I mean,
probably not, because they all do all this cosmetic surgery to themselves, and that is norm. And it's actually a little sad to me that women feel like they have to do that. Like you want this big behind and breast and what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
It should happen though, because remember, it was all natural women's body over the years in the music videos and on TV. And when did the shift change? Also, not Russell Simmons, Run DMC, what's his name?
I forget, but I know what you're talking about.
Rev Run?
Run, yeah. His daughter, one of his daughters, I think did a photo shoot or was on the boat or something, and her body was beautiful and it was natural, and people started talking about her. And I'm like, everybody.
That's what I was going to say, Cortina. They talk about everybody because they have nothing better to do.
I'm gonna tell you one thing about me, because I am a bigger woman and I go up and down, fluctuating weight. And so I come down and I said last year, I said, you know what? I'm going to the pool and I'm wearing a 2-piece. And guess what I did? With all my watermelon slices, I had me a 2-piece.
Did you say what?
That's what I call my rolls, watermelon slices. I don't call them rolls. I call them melon slices because we're juicing. Okay. And if anybody got a problem, they can take a bite out of it and let the juice run out of it. Okay. So, but this is what I did. This is what I did. I went to the pool. I went to we went to the beach. I mean, with my 2 pieces. And the thing is, it was cool. Nobody cared. Like, they want their thing too. And men don't care. They don't care. They want to touch it. And I'm like, no. But it took for me to realize that it doesn't matter what I do. I can be slim as a stick or big as a house. It's me. Yep. And I have to be comfortable with myself. So I got my 2 pieces of clothes. I'm gonna do this shit. Too. Matter of fact, I got 3.
Okay.
That part.
But I think that's where body positivity comes in, right? Because no matter how you want your body to look, if you love it, you have to be the one to embrace it, because people will not embrace it for you. And if you don't embrace it, and then everybody's like, oh my God, you look good, you look nice. If you don't believe it, it's not going to matter what those people say.
That's right.
When you have daughters and sons, being a body positive parent where you're not making, and I have to catch myself, right? I work with this, but not making comments even as innocent as they may sound. Like, how us Black people, we get nicknames like fat, statements, like all type of like crazy stuff, and it could possibly give children complexes. So we have to be very mindful about the nicknames we give them, because it might be a term of endearment for us. However, they may internalize it and it means something totally different in this day and age. And so just being very conscious about the statements you make, how you talk to them, how you talk about them, how you talk about people around them. Because I might not be talking about the child, but if the child identifies with somebody who I'm talking about, they're going to internalize it as if I'm speaking directly to them.
True. That's
and
true.
Even with your friends and even with anybody, like just being mindful about, okay, why do I feel like I'm saying this? Even look, so like they had a picture of Beyonce at the Grammys. I didn't watch the Grammys at all, but I saw a picture. I was like, okay, she looked like she aging a little bit. And some people was like, oh, she looks horrible. You could tell that man wasn't lying. She does drugs. I said to myself, I'm like, no, she just looks like a performer.
She's getting older.
Her age.
And she's
like, probably tired. Shit.
She still looks amazing.
That part, Pam.
It's just without the filters and the airbrushes and all of this other stuff. It's her in her natural state. I think she looks phenomenal and freaking gorgeous. But we don't look like we 20 years old forever. So I don't know why people think people are not supposed to age the way that they do.
Because everybody's Botox and getting all these fillers and shit in their face so that they don't look like they're aging. Just age gracefully. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't look like how I looked when I was 20, skin-wise, but hey, I'm still... I look good. I look damn good is what I tell myself.
Better now than what it was in his 20s. Because your skin looks good.
Well, you know, that's that bronze glow beauty. But wait a minute, Cortina, I got a question. I just wanted to follow up. Because, so we got to be mindful about, you know, the names and stuff like that. So I call my husband Muffin. Is that wrong? I mean, should I not call him Muffin?
No, because he's an adult, right? But I'm talking about when we give younger children,
okay,
like Fatty and Fat and all of this other kind of crazy names that we just give, like Snaggletooth and Small Butt and Pancake and like whatever. I don't know. You know, we be giving some names. And I would say ask them how they feel about that as they get older. Now, if they're a baby, they can't really understand. I mean, it is whatever. But as they get older, for example, I'm gonna put myself out there. So in my family, I have this thing where I call everybody ugly, right? And so I'd be like, okay, ugly, whatever.
Yeah, we do that too.
Okay,
sometimes.
so I do that. So I had my little niece, right? I want to say Anave was maybe...
That's a pretty name, Anave. I like that.
She maybe was 5. She 5? She's 70. She's 9 now. She probably was like 5. And she was like, Auntie Cortina, it hurts my feelings when you call me ugly. From that time, never did it again. Why? Because everybody else, they cool with it. I don't care if everybody else is cool with it. She was not. So I never again did that because I don't want to be the cause that someone feels that they are not enough or they are unworthy or unlovable. And then we had a conversation. I was like, I am so sorry. I said, I don't ever want for you to feel that way. And I'm glad that she was able to tell me that it hurts her feelings because although my intention was not negative, it doesn't mean it didn't have a negative impact. And that's what's the most important thing. Not about our intentions, but it's about the impact, how we impact the other person. That we can't get defensive. I mean, you could, but what would be the point if they're sharing?
Right.
That's what most people do, get defensive.
If they're sharing with
that's when they know they wrong.
Well, some people just have the attitude. I don't give a fuck how you feel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say what I want to say. So, and I think that's also it's an age thing too. You get there's just a different age group now that still carries the mentality of how they grew up.
Yeah.
And so they just saying, well, when I was growing up, we weren't that soft, we weren't this and that, and it is literally very, very different now. I mean, look, they when they started giving all kids trophies for participating to not have other kids feel bad, I knew we were in trouble right then.
Now, I don't agree with that though.
But but that was the whole thing. It's like you are creating false realities about what success looks like and what exactly. And so to me, you're doing the opposite of what you think you're doing,
right?
Because now they grow up realizing that the world is not fair. I don't always win. And then they get a whole attitude. And you wonder why you got some kids going off the rails because they've been, spoon fed their whole lives thinking that they the shit. And the world lets them know when they walk out mommy and daddy's door that they're not.
But that is so true, because I deal with that with my kids, my younger two in the house, and they're like, "That's not fair." And this, I'm like, but first and foremost, it doesn't have to be fair. Now, I treat you guys equal. I give equally, but the fact of the matter is, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're not going to get what they got. And if you don't go out here and do your work, you're not going to be able to pass. I'm like, my biggest thing with my children, I teach them about consequences. Tell them all the time. What you do or do not do reflects the consequence that comes to you. And I was like, a consequence can be good or bad, so it just depends on what you choose to do. And I tell them this all the time because I had my 7-year-old, she likes to quote unquote have tantrums. And I'm like, we're not doing that, sweetheart, because what you think that's going to help you get is not what you're going to get. And if you keep doing that, you're not even going to see what you want maybe for the next 2 weeks. You want to add that to your list of not having. And so, I try, but I talk to them and I explain things to them so as I want them to understand. I'm not going to be harsh and so harsh where they can't tell the difference from mom and world. But I want them to know that you have to be, you just got to be you cannot expect everything to be the way you want it to be. Right. It's not going to work that way. And you're not going to think that because you have a tantrum or you demand something that it's going to go that way either, especially with your mother. It's not working that way with me. So my youngest is 7, and I'm really working on her because she's a trip. But they do it.
So you know what? I think part of it, and I have a question about this. I don't think it's like, I agree with you, Cortina. I don't think it's possible to live a 100% uninhibited life because you don't live on this earth by yourself, and your actions or reactions can affect other people. But where is the balance? How do you find that level of authenticity? And this is for all of you ladies. How do you draw the balance between being authentic and then also, being authentic and uninhibited, but then also being inhibited in certain areas that you need to? Where is that balance at? Or what does it look like for each one of you?
The balance for me is my integrity and my values. So that's what balances the scale for me. If it goes against, or if my integrity is going to be questioned and it goes against my values, that means I'm okay with not doing that. But if I want to be free and it doesn't impede upon my integrity or who I am as an individual, balls to the wall. It don't even matter.
No, the reason why I asked that is because when Jay and I was talking about this earlier, he had mentioned that if anybody was 100% uninhibited, it would be, or if everybody was 100% uninhibited, it would be complete anarchy.
Absolutely.
But I had to tell him, I said, I think that there are limitations. No, I'm not saying, because even if you're uninhibited, there's still laws. Yeah. There's rules, there's regulations in place, but it still doesn't mean, I guess that's where that balance should come from, where you talk about integrity.
But if we're talking about being uninhibited, right, that means not being embarrassed. I might not care about the damn law because I'm not going to be embarrassed how people look at me. So I'm just going to go all crazy. Police right there, high speed chase. I don't care. Put me on the news. Put me on whatever. But
I told Pam the purge. It'll be the purge around this. But
you know what? But what about those who just do stuff for the gram or do stuff for social media or TikTok or whatever?
I think it comes back though, because you got to look at this, right? I think a lot of these challenges and stuff, people don't allow or think about their value systems, or it's different because there's no right or wrong value. Everybody has their own value, right? And I think that some people's integrity, because I might not have anything to lose. So my integrity might not be your integrity. So I'm okay with putting myself out there like that because I don't have no endorsements. People not going to be coming to me for therapy. So I don't care what I look like. I can look like a total jackass because they're not coming to me. But as far as for me, and I think some people's careers, like you can't have Kamala Harris stripping at the strip club, right? Like I just don't think that would align with her profession and the way that people
At all.
her. So you have to be, and it's not about judgment. It's about, let me take a look at this. I couldn't believe that some people voted for a reality TV star, Donald Trump, to be the president of the free world. Okay. However, so it just really depends on their level of integrity, not right or wrong, good or bad. It's just, it might be a little bit different because I'm not even going to say lower. It might be different than people who are like, nah, I can't do that. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to wake up drunk, or I don't want to 10 years from now see me face planted in the bathroom floor at the club and throw up. Like, I'm just going to conduct myself in a different way because I know what possibly can come with that. That also goes with people, young individuals, when their brains are not fully developed yet.
Just living in the moment.
Decisions that they make. They don't think about seeing things go through. So they can't really weigh the consequences of their actions. And so that's why I think that there needs to be at least some type of conversation from a trusted adult in their life to kind of guide them, not dictate to them what they can and cannot do, but to kind of give them guidance and say, hey, I know this seems all cool and well right now, but 10 years from now, would you be okay seeing yourself in this way?
I think there so many people are into likes and engagement and having all of these things and being Instagram famous and going viral. That's important to some people because they feel like, I don't know, they need that level of attention. So, so no matter how, I think for me, what I look at when I'm looking at all the news, and Lord knows, I hate even watching the news during the daytime when I'm at home, is that no matter how much you talk to your children, you have to really teach them that when you leave this house, here's what the real world looks like, regardless, and how real or unreal and falsified social media really is, or even photos that they see or images that they see, because there's a lot of stuff that's constructed to me to cause harm to the youth mentally. It's feeding them all of the wrong things. So you got music, you have social media, you have television shows. I mean, hell, you got Tubi now that have all kind of stuff that perpetuate stereotypes for Black people. And so we have to hold accountable. We have to be accountable to what we choose to perpetuate out here, and then say under the next breath, we need to change. But you're a part of the problem. So just being able to know that when you teach your children some things, when they walk out the door, you don't even know what you got going on. I mean, Cortina, just last week you was talking about little mama changing her clothes in school. Oh my gosh. So, and even though you sat there and said you cannot, they have a mind of their own.
Her daddy, and I'm
Jasmine was like, look here, I ain't got time.
And so I asked her, I don't know if I told y'all this, but I asked her, I said, Jasmine, why you change your clothes? Because I don't like the clothes y'all have for me.
Well,
she ain't lying, though.
Wait a minute, she's like what, 7?
Yes. But the clothes you sneaking out the house is the clothes we got here for you.
She don't like what
she ain't like the way y'all put it together.
The way she want to wear it.
I be telling her, I said, baby, you want to be she wants to be a fashion designer. I say, honey, if you want to be a fashion designer, we gotta make sure we lotion these legs every day when you get out the tub and in the morning. We cannot be going to wear ashy. No, that's not cute. No, we cannot do that.
What is wrong with them? I have to wrestle mine to put lotion on. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I don't care for you.
It takes too much time, child. It takes too much time to put on lotion.
And chapstick, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Listen.
Oh. And I keep mine on the desk. I bought 3 of these. These are the best. They call the night balm, but I use them in the day. I have one right here. I have one in my purse. I have one in my car. It is the best. Look, I'm gonna get them a plug real quick. I don't even know who they made by, but can you
don't do that?
I don't know.
What I can't even see that good
Go.
with the glasses on. All
I
I
don't
see is
know.
night
Oh,
bomb.
go Bigelow. Go Bigelow.
Bigelow,
I
Bigelow,
was
Bigelow,
like,
Bigelow.
oh no, is that just Cole Bigelow? I don't know. I can't really see, but Cole Bigelow, okay.
It's so good. Oh my
Like
god.
the tea? The
Do they
people
have
that make
teas?
the tea?
Oh, Bigelow. I have no idea. But I think it's like $17. It's great.
That little thing is $17?
No, I think you get 3 on for 24.
Jesus.
Mm-mm.
Jesus. Okay.
Mm-mm. And that shit better be working like
You better not make
Bigelow better
nobody
be
hard.
look. Bigelow better do some gigolo stuff for $24.
that part. That's a lot for some chapstick. Okay.
No, it's not chapstick. It's not chapstick.
Oh my
What is
bad.
it?
Bomb.
Balm.
I'm gonna put my little
That's the
cheap.
difference. It's balm, okay?
Mm.
I don't even know. Am I
It's like
hemp
a
and
balm
shade?
in Gilead.
Okay, that makes
Listen.
sense. That makes a difference.
It's a who?
Like
Balm of
in Gilead.
Gilead.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that's from the Bible.
How's this from the Bible?
Oh, okay.
Your balm
I'm
in
like,
Gilead, like a healing,
oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
But I mean, yeah. The only thing I say, like, when it comes to children, you just raise them the best way you can because they have their own individual personalities. And the only thing that you can do is do the best that you can. Even with your friends and everything, the only thing that you can do is offer the best you can. And if you offer the best you can, guess what? That's all you have. You can't offer more than what you have the capacity to offer. So if you offer your friends the best you can, then that's all you can do,
And that's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do.
And be okay with living the life that you live. If you aren't happy with it, do something different. If you feel like you super inhibited, change. What do you need to do in order to shift and live a little bit more free? There are some people, they too rigid, too wrapped up, too tight, too uptight, sticking they butt.
It make you want to pluck them sometimes.
I know quite a few people like that.
I won't say that I'm rigid. I think I am overly conscious about, what I do, almost to a fault sometimes. And then there's times when I'm just extremely spontaneous. I know how to let my hair down when I am, but I have to be in comfortable spaces.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have to be in comfortable spaces for me to really feel like, okay, this is a safe space. This is a safe space for me. But that's really the only way. I don't know.
I've heard of that.
Therapist? Oh no, we can't go to her. Oh no, you ain't gonna catch me like that. But
in the house is different than outside the house. Now. Yeah. But it's a lady. She's on the Tom Mo show. There's another podcast. Her name is Justified Janice, I believe. She always says, "Give the world the best of you and not the rest of you." But I think we should give ourselves the best of us and not the rest of us. And a lot of times we don't give that into ourselves. And I think if we did that for ourselves, we would be more free. We would be able to be ourselves and not be afraid of, oh, if they think I'm weird. I like being weird. I like being different. I like being dorky or whatever. I like that. I like that part of myself. And growing up, of course, you had to hide that part. But as I became older, even in my marriage, I don't think I could be as silly as I am now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think. I was silly, but it's like it was so much going on, and I had to be more than who I was supposed to be that I could not tap into that part of myself. But my kids, even in my marriage, I just run up and just start dancing or just randomly do little crazy faces. And now I do that, but I do it more. I'm freer now. I'm able to laugh. I didn't even know I had dimples until a couple years ago.
Oh,
because I actually smile like from within now. And so it's like it's different when you are able to be yourself.
Yeah.
And it depends on who you're around, or even within yourself, when you get comfortable within yourself, you're able to find that piece of you that is not inhibited. You're not inhibited because you're comfortable with yourself and the people around you are comfortable with you. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna know I'm goofy because I randomly sing. We can be in mid-conversation. If you say something that prompts a song, I'm going to sing it. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that. because I don't want you to be nervous when I just bust out singing. So it's just different things that now I'm comfortable sharing with people. But at first I wasn't. So it takes that time to give yourself the best of yourself, and you can give the best of yourself to others. So
Okay. Diana, was you going to say something? Oh, I didn't know. I saw your hand do this. I was like, oh, let
no,
me.
I was just agreeing, I was just.
Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. Let's do the round table. Louisa, how can people be in touch with you?
look, there you go. Look, that's what I usually do. Sing. See, you do it too. You don't even realize it. You can find me at the Blue Phoenix Hills everywhere. Yep.
Oh, okay. That's short and sweet. Okay.
And after this, on both sides of the coin, on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Dr. Lewis, where can people find you? And then also, did you put the link for the cards?
Yes, because I need that.
Post it in the comment section so people would know where to get your cards from, because like I said earlier, it does spark some conversation about the being uninhibited and knowing what your partner likes. I might have to play that game tonight just to kind of
Girl, get into it. Don't just play, do.
Let me stop, because he was already looking. He probably like, what the hell is she over here talking about? He knows, and like, you know what? He knows the level of silly that I am that no one else in the world knows. And so I remember early on in our dating, he always told me, he said, if it's one thing, never lose that part of me, being silly. I already don't give him room to breathe, because I mean, he go to bed, we go to bed. I go to bed, we go to bed.
I know that's right.
It's the way it works up in here. He's like, you do know you don't have to go to bed. Yep. Well, we all going to bed. Or he'll just, if I'm not tired, he'll just stay on the couch. I think that's so sweet. He'll just sleep on the couch until I'm ready to go to bed. That's that love. So Dr. Lewis, how can everybody find you? Your thing hadn't put it in you posted it in the private chat.
Oh, let me access to the other chat.
Oh, well then let me put it in the main chat. So here's where you all can get the
text it to me at this point, because we about to wrap. Just text me, because I ain't got time. If I do it, I'm going to click my camera off. Now let's go. Come on.
No. This will be for later on for anybody who is watching and go back and rewatch that. They can see the comments, and I just put the link in the chat. So for anybody who wants to get the Sex Unveiled cards, but go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you and connect with you.
You can find me at The Girlfriend Therapist on all social media platforms. You can also find me at Sext, S-E-D, S-E-X-D, Sex Unveiled, and The Noir, the N-O-I-R Center on all social media platforms. And that's where you can find me.
And Diana up there, and what you got?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Diana Richardson Philippus, and you can find me on Facebook at EWE Inspires.
And you still have some tickets available for the Women Empowerment Networking.
I do. Y'all better jump on these tickets. I was sitting here as we're podcasting, watching some tickets funnel through. I'm like, ooh, boop, boop, boop. Y'all, what y'all doing? Look, I don't see you. Are you there? Get your ticket, because they about gone. Okay. Yeah.
All right. And for me, you can follow me on all social media platforms at IAMDRP GURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley, also at the BGBB Kids Red Carpet and Brown Boy, Brown Girl series. And of course, you can follow Herspiration at Herspiration Happy Hour on Facebook and Instagram. And then on Twitter is Herspiration HH. I think that's it. And if you would like to be on the Herspiration Happy Hour show, you can be featured right here. Just click on that link, or just go to that link and then register to be on the show. Not really promoting, because I'm just loving the conversation and the energy with my ladies that we did not really get an opportunity to last year. And last year, it was so crazy. Last year was unbelievable. And so, with energy of course, having Diana on now, being able to have some really great conversation with the ladies means something. But we're not stopping you from coming on and being a guest and coming and hanging out for our cocktails and conversation every week. We will be back here next week, Wednesday, at the same time, 7 p.m. I know, right?
7 p.m.
Look, first of all, Wednesday keep rolling around so goddamn quick.
It does.
Speaking, you know what? I looked at it. I'm like, it's the 8th, and I feel like it's already mid-month. That's what I'm saying. So on the 24th of this month, I will officially be down to exactly 1 year before the wedding. So so that's relatively exciting. So
Yes,
the
it
whole
is.
throes of wedding planning has been something else, something very interesting. But that's a whole nother show.
We need to
But
make
do
that a show.
anybody say what?
We need to make that a show.
You know, I'm telling you, and you're in the groups some of the groups that I'm still in, the melanated bride and the black bride groups. I'm telling you, thank God that the sanity that I've been able to maintain is because of my Facebook family, or they say cousins, they call each other cousins, that I've been a part of in these groups that just kind of, go ahead. That kind of helps me stay sane. I don't know, just quickly, Cortina, did they help you maintain some level of sanity?
No, help me do what? Because they're crazy in there.
Oh no, they are
I
really crazy.
I don't
But
even know anything about it.
they make me feel like I have so much control. Like I'm like, I don't have these issues.
No,
But
I didn't have those issues.
But I've had to have like vent twice. One time because of him, I was like, you know what? If he add one more motherfucker to this list, I'm gonna be planning a funeral instead of a wedding. I did post that in there, but it was for laughs. It was just like not anything serious. And then the second one that I posted, it was just like the audacity of entitlement that people think they have as you're planning your wedding. That was the other thing. And I'm like, man, but I just kind of shared those feelings because for me, it's like I'm almost deciding, because you know I'm a writer. I feel like there's another side of wedding planning that I cannot find in books.
Like what?
Shit, the level of entitlement of these people, how not to be a bridezilla, and you know what I'm saying, but then owning your own.
Too early to be a bridezilla at this
But
point. I mean,
I know, but you know what? Not really. You know why? Because if you know what I have been able to accomplish, it will blow your mind. Like legit, it will.
Girl,
it will blow your mind at how much I've been able to do, only because I know my busy season. So like the venue is secured. Y'all, you know, the bridesmaid proposal boxes are gone. Save the dates have been mailed. The catering menu is already done. Photography, videography are done. The wedding officiant is done. The day of coordinator is done. I'm like,
you a bridezilla. Those are just tasks that need to be done.
No, but when I'm in these groups, I thought it would be way more overwhelming, but I'm just using when I can't sleep at night. I'm like doing stuff. I have the dresses picked out, the shoes picked out for the bridesmaids, not so much the maid and matron of honor. But I feel like if I'm having time, when I'm looking at what some of these people are dealing with, I'm like, if I have to at all deal with this, I would lose my mind too. Like, it's just different. But there's just other sides to it that it's like, I'm saying there's other sides to it that I didn't even really know people go through just being in these groups, and not even happening to me. I
saw somebody say, oh, if you don't pay for all your bridesmaids, you can't expect people to be in your wedding. I said, hair, shoes, dresses. I said, oh, well, we ain't gonna have no bridesmaids.
Makeup,
hair.
Yeah, I've heard that before. And guess what? I didn't buy no shoes, no dresses, or makeup.
I haven't even heard that. That's a new thing that I'm seeing. Now, if you got hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's great. But I would much rather spend all those thousands of dollars that I'm about to spend on hair, makeup, shoes, dresses for all these people, whoever they are. I would much rather put that money towards my wedding. And if people really ride for you and they down for you, they're not going to mind paying that. So I don't want to bribe somebody to be in my wedding, nor am I going to look at you differently if you be like, Cortina, I ain't got it. You know what? I would love to be a part, but I ain't got it. Exactly. I don't give a damn. It ain't going to make me demote you as my friend. And I think all the guys in the group, they have some crazy expectations. Like, my maid of honor didn't pay for my this and pay for my that. Well, shit, if you want it, throw it yourself. People still got lives to live. People still got bills. That is your day. That is your stuff. So
that's right.
Get mad at somebody if they cannot financially give to you the way that you want them to. Like, I think that's really selfish.
Yeah, I
think
read
so
a
too.
lot. I read a lot in these groups, and I'm like, I am so glad that I don't have those problems. But then I also would be, let people know. I think that you put too much stock in it. This is your day. And like I always say, I don't owe anybody an explanation, and they feel like they have to explain something to everybody. Anytime that there's something, like I even told them, like I posted about the whole +1s thing. I'm honest and I'm upfront about it very early on. No, you don't get a +1. If it's not an invitation, no, you can't bring your kids. If you got too many. There's a seating limitation that I have to be conscious of. I even have a rule, and I told Jay, I don't want to meet you for the first time the day of my wedding. This is not a meet and greet. I don't, weddings are very intimate. It's to be shared. And if I have to pay money, I can fill that space with somebody that actually knows me. So if you are not married, and no, but and 9 times out of 10, if you're coming to my wedding, I feel like if I know you well enough to be, coming to my wedding, I should know your spouse.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Heard about them.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I've had people say, they're going to bring somebody, but they don't know who they bring in. Absolutely not.
Well, then, listen.
Absolutely not. And so now. It's just a lot. And so I'm looking at it as a writer. I'm looking at it through the lens of the other place of how not to have a meltdown. Because I'm not melting down. I was so overwhelmed with everything that I thought I had to do by being in this group. Now I'm like, I'm almost getting to the point where I'm bored. I'm like, well, what else? What am I supposed to do?
You got plenty more to do. You got plenty more to do. You're not going to be bored. Believe that. You're not going to be bored. You got plenty to do.
The next couple of months, I've taken care of everything on the front that needed to, because it's time sensitive to get my date, because 2/24/24 is it's apparently is a popular date. So the very first thing I did was take care of the venue. Exactly. So I wanted to ensure that I took care of photography, videography. Right now I'm dealing with, like, the only thing I have contracts to look at is going through the baker. But the catering is already done. I mean, everything is done. I'm like, I'm ahead of things. Wedding website done, but I'm a content creator, so it's no secret that anything that requires writing done. And
what about your cake tasting? Are you going to do a tasting for your
That's not until way later on.
Well, once you nail down the venue, you should know. Well, but I mean, you are. It's
I already have. So I already know when I'm doing the tasting for the food and when I find the bakery, I'm going to set it up for the same time, because I don't live there. So when I go down, I want to be able to schedule everything. So I do have the schedule, because I have the schedule to meet with the wedding officiant. I have the schedule for the tasting. All of that's taking place at the same time when I'm down there. Also, got to get a license. May as well take care of that while we're down there. So essentially, I'm trying to align everything.
You want to get a license in Florida? You want to get?
I can't. I have to. I have to.
Why?
Because I can't bring a Maryland license here and get married in Georgia. I'm in Florida.
So no, that's
not here. Not here. I have to.
Though. I don't know why they said that. Because you can do a courthouse, and we already married, right? They can't tell me I can't have a ceremonial ceremony.
Oh, right? I'm not having a ceremonial. I'm like, literally, I want my wedding date to be 2/24/24. So we will be getting married. We have an officiant that will marry us.
So this is what I'm saying, right? So when you do it, you go apply for your marriage license in Maryland, right? Whatever date you actually get married is the date that goes on the marriage license. When you go back to Maryland, then you file it. They actually file it for the actual date that you want. So if you want it 2/24/24. So for example, courthouses are not open on Saturdays anyway. Correct. So if I would have got married here, what we do, you go apply, you got 60-day window.
Yep.
Any day. So you go apply. I'm a Florida notary. Hell, I can notarize it for you, and then you just take it or wherever if you actually want to do it in Florida. In order to be actually married, all you need is a Florida notary. So here we go, notary stamp right here. So just stamp it, whatever. So the only thing you have to do is you get if you want to be married in Florida, but I would say do it in Maryland, because that's where both of y'all are. Because if you ever, heaven forbid, knock on wood, I hope this will never happen, because we're not going to speak.
His ass ain't going nowhere.
I'm just saying, but if it were, it would be hell, because you would have to go through a Florida court. So,
Florida court for?
No, I said if it were, I'm just talking about for legal things. If it's just easier to do it where you live. Like, for example, we are legally married I live in Florida. We live in Florida. So all you have to do is apply. You got those 60 days. You can even do it like 2 weeks before you come down here, right? Apply.
Yeah. Look, apparently y'all are witnessing the after show. Because
No, you just apply.
Yeah, but give me a look. We're gonna close this out, y'all. Cheers, and we're gonna go behind the scenes. And y'all are listening to the whole kit and caboodle over here. But see y'all next Wednesday.
Bye.
This is Herspiration Happy